AfterShot Pro will look like when you first open the application. On the left is where you find your images in file system folders or in a library if you've imported images into a catalog. Next are the thumbnails, which show you all the files or images in the folder that you've selected. You can have a single column of thumbnails, you can have multiple columns of thumbnails, you can show only thumbnails or focus in on just an image and hide the thumbnails altogether. Next to the thumbnails is the preview window where you can zoom in to 100% to see your photo in details. You can also select multiple images and click down here in the lower right to see multiple raw files on the screen at the same time. This lets you judge between images very quickly and find your best shots, the ones you're actually going to work on and deliver to the client. And on the far right are the image adjustment tools. Everything in AfterShot Pro is non-destructive, so you can make adjustments to your images and quickly reset them to exactly how they came straight out of the camera. That also applies to crop, so if I crop this into an image like that, and I can always come back and get back to exactly where I was. So you can experiment, you can try lots of different edits knowing you'll never alter your original file, and you can always go back to how that image started off. Now, workflow means different things to different photographers. So what AfterShot tries to do is to support as many different workflows as possible to allow the photographer to work however they want to, instead of requiring them to follow one specific workflow that the application supports. So I'll walk you through sort of the pro wedding photographer workflow. They've got a set of very specific needs. They usually shoot a lot of images over a short amount of time, a weekend of the wedding, and need to go through those images and select the good ones, do some edits, get those images out to the client for proofs, and then come back and do the final tweaks and then deliver the final project. And once they're done with that project, they typically don't come back to it after it's been delivered to the client. So the asset management capabilities in AfterShot Pro aren't as important as the very fast culling and rating, selecting the best shots, image editing, and final image output. So to start off with, I've selected this folder with a few hundred photos from a wedding, and the first step would be to move through the photos and pick the ones that you want to include and actually send to the client. Some of them are obvious, you know, you're going to want those, you're probably going to want one of these, but you might need to check which one of these two photos you like better. So what we'll do is we'll put them both on screen at once and zoom in to see which one we want to keep, and I think it's going to be that one there. So with that selected, we'll just add a rating and move back to our images, and you can quickly move through the rest of your photos and pick the ones that you want to deliver to the clients. You can also use the magnifying glass, which is available on the keyboard, the tilde button, or you can go to the magnifier here. And that works both on thumbnails and on the preview window to help you judge sharpness, pick the sharpest image out of the lot, and I think it's going to be this one that I use. Now, wedding photographers typically shoot in batches, so it makes sense to edit in batches as well. That helps you go through the process of editing your raw files very, very quickly, so you don't have to edit and tweak each one. You can just do one that's representative of a large set of images, like these here. All of these photos were taken about the same time with the same equipment in the same lighting of the same bride. So any adjustment that I do to one photo is likely going to apply to the whole set. So maybe I want to add a little vibrance to boost the skin tones. Maybe I want to add a little vignetting. With one click we can remove the vignette in those corners to give a nice neutral or natural tone, but what I want to do instead is just heighten that vignette about like that. This gives a very high impact, poppy image that a lot of wedding photographers really like. Now what I'm going to do is press Control C, or from the Edit menu go to Edit, Copy Image Settings, and then I'm going to select all my other thumbnails. And if you watch the thumbnails when I press Control V or Paste, they'll all take on those exact same settings very, very quickly, including the one that I have selected in the preview window. So this is a great way to adjust one image, this one here that we started out with, and then paste those settings to a whole group of photos so you can get great results, beautiful quality photos very, very quickly without having to tweak and edit each one. This is a huge time saver for wedding photographers who tend to take thousands and thousands of photos, many of them with very, very similar subject matter, lighting, and shot with the same equipment. So now what I'll do is switch back to thumbnail view, and I'm going to filter out only the ones that I marked as keepers, only my 1-star or higher photos. Now I'm going to select them all, and the final step is to create output images, which will actually deliver to the client as proofs. So over here on the Output tab, we can see the predefined batch outputs. This is where you configure the size of the photo, how many photos you want to create, all the various options that are available during output. So what I'll do is just drag these thumbnails over to where it says JPEG proof, and it'll ask me what folder I want to save to, and it'll start converting these raw files in the background. Now while it does that, I can still move through my photos very, very quickly and preview the images, do editing, adjusting, even while it's converting those files in the background faster than any other application on the market. So that was a quick look at the pro wedding photographer workflow. You find the images directly on your hard drive, you go through them very quickly and do your culling and rating, pick your best ones, you edit and refine just those instead of the entire set, deliver those to the client, and then move on to the next project. For enthusiast photographers, they're much more likely to come back to their photos time and time again and to show them off or to kind of continually refine and adjust them. So the asset management capabilities of AfterShot Pro become more and more important. So what I've done is clicked on the Library tab, where I've got this catalog with a few thousand photos to show you some of the asset management capabilities. So what this allows you to do is find photos, instead of by where they're stored on your computer, using any of the metadata that was found during the time the images were imported, or metadata that you've added to the photos, like ratings or keywords, things like that. So I can quickly say, okay, let's find all the images shot with the Fuji camera, and those pop on screen very quickly. Or I can say, well, let's find all of the good photos. I'll just say my 2- and 3-star photos. So I'll select both of those and click Refine. So that hides all the other ones that aren't my good photos and shows the counts for only those photos as well. So I can quickly see that I shot 35 photos in Honduras that I thought were 2- or 3-star photos, and I can click through them and quickly say, oh yeah, that's the one I was looking for. And that's what the asset management capabilities in AfterShot are all about. Being able to find specific photos after the fact, maybe months or even years later, without remembering where they are on your computer or any particular details about where they're stored. You can just remember what keywords you assigned, maybe what equipment you were using. And you can say, okay, I want to see just the ones shot with this 17mm lens. So very quickly you can find specific photos, or maybe you want to just see the very wide focal length ones. Those about like that. So these are my 2- and 3-star images shot at 20 millimeters or less. So very quickly you can go from a huge set of images, maybe many thousands, down to the very specific ones that you want to be looking at. Whether you're a professional photographer or an enthusiast, final image quality is important to everybody. So we've built in a huge array of image adjustment tools, all totally non-destructive, to make sure you can get the best image quality when working on your raw files very, very quickly. So let's walk through a few of those examples right now. If I look at this shot, I took this in Tibet several years ago. I really liked the color of the sky, this early evening sky, and the subject matter of the foreground, the man taking a picture of his family in front of this monument. But it's murky, it's dark, it's blue, it's kind of hard to see any detail down here in the foreground, so overall it's really not that compelling of a photo. If I do my one-click white balance adjustment, like you can do in any application, the foreground starts to look better, but I lost that cool characteristic of the sky, which is the whole reason I took this photo in the first place. So that doesn't help. What I want to do instead is open my layer manager and create a new adjustment layer down here just like this. So I'm going to select the bottom of this image very quickly, and it'll be outlined with this rectangular border like that. So now when I do my one-click white balance, only that bottom rectangle gets my new white balance setting. So very quickly I got a custom white balance only here in the lower portion of the image without affecting the rest of the frame. Now that looks pretty simple, but AfterShot Pro is actually the only non-destructive workflow tool that allows you to do that very quickly, selective white balance that fast. Now we can add another adjustment. What I'll do is add a little fill light, just like this, to boost the shadows as well. So now I have a nice neutral color down in the bottom. I've got much brighter shadows. I didn't blow out any of the highlights in the foreground, and the rest of the image is exactly how it came straight out of the camera. Very, very quick and easy. Now, if I double click to zoom into 100%, I can see the top of the stairs got cut off when I made that rectangle. So I need to add another region, and I'll use my paintbrush just to show you how that works. You could do another rectangle up there if you wanted to, but I'll just use the paintbrush here, select the top of the stairs just like that, zoom back out, and very quickly you can see the before and after. So you can add multiple regions to a single layer. All the adjustments on that layer will take those same settings, so very quickly you can get exactly what you want out of your final image. Now I'm going to make another layer, and I'm just going to use my polygon tool again and follow the contour of the mountain and around the monument like this to emphasize that cool color of the sky that was important to my photo in the first place. Now, adding these points, just like everything else, is totally non-destructive, so you don't have to be real precise. You can always come back in later and move them around and make them fit a little bit better once you know you've got the look you're looking for. So now with that selected, I'm going to hide my layer manager and just lower the color temperature a little bit here, about like that, to really emphasize the color of that sky. It didn't alter the neutral color on the monument. It didn't adjust the foreground at all. Only that top area very, very quickly to give me exactly what I wanted out of this photo. If I come back to the thumbnail view and come over here and say version, new version from default. So this is going to import an image straight out of the camera with no settings applied, so I can very quickly judge. I'll select them both at the same time and click multi-view on, so I can very quickly judge between my before and after photo to see which looks better. This was the original one, kind of murky, kind of dark, and this was my edited version. Very, very quickly I got 3 custom white balances, one click white in the foreground, my as shot white balance on the mountains and the monument, and this very cool, rich white balance in the sky very, very quickly. Pretty much any image adjustment tool that's available in AfterShot Pro can be applied selectively, either with the paintbrush or one of the region tools, to get you exactly what you're looking for very quickly. That's a unique capability in AfterShot Pro. Applications like Lightroom and Lightroom and Aperture do offer selective editing, but with a much more limited set of adjustment tools, maybe sharpness and brightness, 6 or 7 different adjustments instead of pretty much anything the application offers. There is one control in AfterShot that you cannot do to a portion of an image, and I'll show you that right here. Judy Haley took this with a fisheye lens. It has this very warped sort of global feel to it, and she shot that way intentionally. That's the look she was going for. But if I click on the Details tab, we can see the camera, lens, and focal length that was shot with, and enable correction, and it's going to give you an optically correct image very, very quickly. Now, this is one of those adjustments that just doesn't make sense to do only to a portion of the image. So this is one of the very few things that that can't be applied selectively. It needs to be applied to the whole image. But pretty much anything else can be applied to the whole image or a portion of the image. We've also got some very interesting tools to allow you to get great looking photos that were shot in conditions that might show a whole lot of digital noise, like this. If I hit E to show the EXIF or metadata associated with this file, you can see it was shot with the original Canon 1D high-end Pro camera at ISO 3200. Indoor sports is one of the hardest shooting conditions. You get poor quality light, not very much of that light, so it's very dim. And the high-speed action means you're shooting at the fastest focal lengths, or fastest shutter speeds, and widest apertures. So it's very easy to get these very messy images that look like throwaway images when you first look at them. But with one click on Noise Ninja, we can get beautiful results very, very quickly. So we took something that looked like this and ended up with something that looks like that, without a lot of fuss, without moving a lot of sliders or adjustments, just one click and you get beautiful results. Now I'll hit Control-C, move on to my next image, and we'll zoom in 1:1. Again, shot at the same time, same conditions. I'll hit Control-V to paste, and it'll take on those exact same settings. So if you're working with a large number of photos, if you actually shot this volleyball tournament, you probably had thousands of photos like this. You can just copy those settings from one, paste to the other, and get great looking results from your entire shoot very, very quickly. AfterShot is also designed to help power your entire workflow, even if you need to do image adjustments in other applications to maybe composite multiple photos together, or add text overlays, or do some of the creative adjustments that some other applications like Paint Shop or Photoshop really excel at. So I'll show you that here. We'll take a photo like this, picture of some flowers, and let's boost the vignetting again, like we did on the bridal photos. We can come back and also boost the saturation a whole lot, really make those flowers pop. Just do some obvious edits like this, and now let's right-click and say Edit with Corel AfterShot Pro. Now this could be Photoshop or Paint Shop or whatever pixel editor you have installed on your application. It's going to create a TIFF image and then load that into Paint Shop Pro, just like that. Now you can do any of the image editing or creative adjustments that you might need to do in Paint Shop. Maybe stitch photos together to make a panorama, or HDR, or very detailed retouching. I'll do something very obvious here. I'll just add a digital photo frame around this photo, about like that. Nice and obvious change. I'll hit Control-S to save and flatten it, and then as soon as I pop back over to AfterShot, I can see my photo is updated with that photo frame that I applied in Paint Shop. So that gives you a way to use AfterShot as your starting point for your whole photographic workflow: importing, cataloging, rating, adjustments, non-destructive editing, and then to kick off the full pixel editing in something like Paint Shop or Photoshop. So that's a little overview of the application. We talked a little bit about file system view, to click on a folder and go to work without doing asset management. And this is great, and one of the unique capabilities of AfterShot Pro compared to something like Lightroom is that we do give you the option to do both of these. If you want to use your library to find your Cambodia, your best Cambodian photos, or maybe the pictures from Honduras as well, you can do the cataloging to very, very quickly find your photos and manage your catalog. But if a colleague comes over with a memory card and just wants to take a look at some photos very quickly, in other applications you have to create a catalog just for those photos, shut down the application, and restart using that catalog because they only support one catalog at a time. Import those photos into that new catalog just to see the photos, and then close down, start back up, select your main catalog in order to go on with your workflow. So it's very cumbersome to very quickly just you say, okay, well let's see all these photos that Judy Haley shot, and click on a group of photos without needing to import those into your catalog. One of the other things that we saw is that in this demo you never saw a sign that said waiting or loading or please wait. These are raw files from a number of different cameras.